Or is that including us, I guess? I don't know.
Including us. Hi, everybody. We are just about ready to get rolling. I think we're going to hang on for a couple more minutes here, just while we wait for a few more people to join us. Okay, I think we're going to kick it off, get things underway. Thanks for joining us today for the Declare Your Major information session. You must be getting very excited to get into your majors. I am Becky Moore. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an academic advisor in the Arts Undergraduate Office for students with the last names M through Z. We may have already met. If not, it's very nice to virtually meet you. I'm joined today by two other advisors, Andrea West, who is my partner in the Arts Undergraduate Office, and then also Britt Scowen, who's joining us from St. Jerome's University. Just before we get started, there's a few housekeeping items that I wanted to go over. This session is being recorded and transcribed, so if you don't catch something, feel free to always come back and take another look. All the links that are in this presentation are also included in the email you would have received as an invitation for today. And they're also included on the website that you can go to see the steps on how to declare your major. So you can always go back there. Additionally, throughout the presentation, there are going to be a couple QR codes kind of scattered throughout. So please do feel free to scan those to check them out later if you think that they're helpful. Lastly, we'll open up as well a Q&A period at the end. This is your opportunity to ask any specific questions you might have. The session is a very general session, so if you feel that you have a question that might have some personal pieces to it, your academic advisors are here to help you. So please do try to connect with us as well if there's something additional that you had to ask that was not addressed in this session today. Okay, Andrea, Britt, did you want to say anything? I kind of introduced you guys. Okay. Okay, so moving on. We're just gonna advance the slide here. Okay, what the session will cover. So first we're gonna go over the steps on how to declare your major. We'll also cover a bit on eligibility. And then we will preview as well the form that you're going to complete to submit your declaration. After that, we'll cover a little bit on additional guidance, including academic advising, co-op advising, career planning, all that kind of stuff. We do have an FAQ section for the frequently asked questions that we'll go over as well. And then a very brief portion on what's next. So after you declare your major, what should you be thinking about moving forward? And then, as I said, there will be the Q&A section of the presentation at the very end. So probably about the first half will be the presentation and the second half of the hour will be the Q&A session. Okay, so moving on forward, steps to declaring your major. You are already doing step one, so a pat on the back for you on this one. Attending this session should help you feel a bit more confident submitting your form, making the proper choices for yourself as you move into your second year here at Waterloo. Step two is to learn more about majors and minors that you might be interested in. Departments throughout the faculty will be offering information sessions, drop-in office hours, or they might have posted a video with a little more info about what that program is. So if you're kind of on the fence about a few things, now's your chance to kind of dig in a little bit more and have those conversations to help you decide. You want to make sure that you check out every program that you are interested in. So this could be a major, it could be a minor, it could be a diploma, it could be potentially co-op too. I mean, if you were not admitted to a co-op program from day one, you might be able to move into co-op moving forward. And we'll touch on that later in the presentation as well. And then step three is the most exciting step, I guess, is when you're going to fill out your form to declare your major. This form is not open yet. It will be open actually immediately following this information session. And it will be due April 7th. Okay. So moving on, just to eligibility. So looking at criteria for declaring a major. So if you are heading towards an honors major, you need to have a 70% average in the courses for that major. So for example, if you were going for a legal studies major, we're looking for 70% in any courses you've taken towards that major, which are likely like Social 101, LS 101, and then maybe a 200 level LS course if that's what you're taking. We're looking for a 70% across those three courses. Similarly, we're looking for a 65% if you are aiming for a general plan as opposed to an honors plan. If you would like to combine arts and business with your honors major, we need to have a 70% average as well in your arts and business courses. So if you're already in that program, you will have taken 4 courses already towards it, including ARBIS 101, 102, Econ 101, and ARBIS 202. So you need to have a 70% in your arts and business courses as well as a 70% in your major courses. And just as an added note, co-op is only available to honors level majors, but it is combinable with any honors level major in the Faculty of Arts. We're also looking for a cumulative average of at least 60%. So this is an average that includes all of your courses taken since the fall term. So that's not just courses from the Faculty of Arts. So for example, if you took Math 104, then that course will count into your cumulative averages also, cumulative average also. And in addition to that, you do need to have a minimum of 8 courses completed or 4 credits or 4 units. We need to have those completed by the end of your first year in order for you to declare a major and to progress into your 2A term. And then finally, we need to see at least 1 or 2 courses towards the major. That's the aim. So depending on the major, it could be 1 course, it could be 2 or more courses. And again, we will dig into that later. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Britt.
All right, thanks, Becky. So again, there are some majors that require 2 courses, but most only require 1 with at least 1 numeric grade. So what that means is if you got just a credit in the course and there's no percentage grade there, you need to make sure at least 1 thing is counting with a numeric grade towards that major to declare it. And there's a list here of some majors that require 2 or more courses to be completed. So economics is Econ 101 and 102, with both grades being numeric. Mathematical econ requires those same 2 econ courses plus 2 math courses, with all grades having a numeric average. Fine arts studio practice requires those 2 fine arts courses listed. Music requires 2 plus an audition, with both grades being numeric. And then visual culture also has those 2 courses listed there, whether you take them on the fine 102 or 101 side, or the VCALT 100 or 101 side. That is completely okay.
So when we move on to step 2, for declare your major, you're going to want to learn about the different major options available. The departments throughout the Faculty of Arts during the month of March are going to be offering ways in which you can engage with them and ask questions. So they'll have either drop-in advising hours, they'll have sessions much like this. They may have videos posted for you to check out, but we would encourage you to go in and ask the questions, meet the individuals, talk to faculty, and learn as much as you can about the different majors and even minors that you're interested in. So as you can see on the slide here, there are 30 odd majors in the Faculty of Arts, plus at least 40 minors. So there's so many different things to choose from. So now's your opportunity to kind of delve in a bit deeper and take a look to see what you might be interested in. When you look at the Declare Your Major web page, which you would have had a link sent to you in your email, you will see, looking where the orange arrow is pointing, that is the link that's going to take you to the actual department major and minor information sessions. And it provides information on who you can contact for each major or minor, if they're hosting sessions like this, if they have those videos that I mentioned. That's where you're going to find all this information. So make sure you take a look at that link in particular. So as you can see here, once you click in that link, this is the major and minor information session page. So as you can see, it does have the major on the left-hand column, the contact, and then any information that you may need to know about in-person sessions or virtual sessions that they're hosting. And then they'll even have, once the session has been offered, quite often they'll send us a link for a recording that we can also put there, so that if you do miss it, quite often we can get the recording and put that link in there as well.
Okay, should I choose co-op or regular streams of study? Many of you have probably already decided which stream is for you. If you haven't decided, or if you've decided one thing and you've changed your mind, it's not too late to change your plan. So there are 2 sessions coming up in March that are for anyone interested in learning about the different options related to the co-op system or another program that's called EDGE, and also how to manage making decisions about which major you should choose. We highly recommend that you attend one of these sessions if you have any questions about any of your co-op options. These sessions are open to any first-year student in the Faculty of Arts, regardless of your current plan. Registration is required, so these 2 sessions are also posted on the Declare Your Major website that you've been emailed, with the links to the registration there as well. The QR code is here too if you wanted to scan it and have it for later. The other thing that I'll just point out is that the first session is on tomorrow. It's on Wednesday, March 5th. It's virtual. So if you wanted to join that and get the information that you need, you're more than welcome. The second session is the week following, and it is in person, and there is pizza. The pizza, of course, is only for those who have registered for the event. So if you plan on going, definitely make sure you're going to register to make sure that you get your pizza. Okay, so we're already on to step 3. So this is where you want to submit the declare your major form. So this is the point where you are feeling good about where you're at and about which major, minor, what plan combination you're hoping for, and you're ready to submit your form. It's a super, super simple step-by-step form that you will submit online. As I said, the form is not live yet, but it will be open immediately following this information session. And again, a link to this form can also be found on the Declare Your Major website, which is also linked in your email. This QR code will also take you to that website as well. Okay, so I just wanted to give you kind of a quick preview of what the form looks like. So this is where you will go to sign in. So once you click on the link that's on the Declare Your Major website, it will take you here, and you need to sign in with your WhatIM credentials at the bottom of the page there. It's really, really straightforward. Then it's just asking for your personal information, just who you are. Please do include your student number. That's really important. That identifies you as you individually. And if you don't have it memorized, if you don't have it memorized yet, now's a good time because you're going to be using it for the next 4 or 5 years while you're completing your degree with us. So yeah, filling out your personal information, and then you are straight into the academic program that you're asking for. So there's a couple drop-down menus that you can choose from if it's the major, if it's the program, and if you would like to double major as well. Simple radio buttons if you would like to do co-op or not. Even if you are admitted currently in a co-op program and you've decided that you don't want to do that, all you have to do is just click regular and we'll have that changed for you as well. So super, super simple.
If you do need any help completing the form or have any quick questions, you're in luck. We do have some drop-in speed advising sessions, and we also have a video tutorial online on how to complete the form. So you can access that, or you can attend either of the sessions below, so March 6th or March 25th. Just note that on March 25th, we're only there in the afternoon, and these are both taking place in PASS 2438. As well, declaring your major comes with some big decisions sometimes around what that's going to lead you to career-wise. We do have a lovely career advisor named Alicia in the Faculty of Arts who works with students about your questions regarding co-op, career goals, how your major and minors might be informed by that, and so on, and can give you a lot of clarity on that as well. So Alicia will be available to connect in person in the Arts Undergrad office on Wednesday, March 5th, so tomorrow from 1 to 2:30. And then it's also going to be available on the March 25th speed advising session in PASS 2438 during that afternoon. So you'll have some chances to talk with her then or reach out at another point in time.
And that's the overview of Declare Your Major. So like we said, it's a pretty simple process. So don't be afraid to reach out to us if you have questions still about any of the stuff we have just gone over. But at this point, we're actually going to go over some of the frequently asked questions. First one being, what if I don't have 8 courses completed? So if you don't have 8 courses completed by the end of the winter term, you do usually have a couple of options. You need the 8 courses to declare your honors major, which is important if you're wanting co-op. Regular program students can take any number of courses they want. So, not a concern there. You can choose to take courses in the spring. You can wait until the fall and carry on, and then just declare your major at that point. If you're wanting co-op, you do need to have the 8 courses, the 70% honors average. So what you can do is look to take courses in the spring term, and then declare your major at the end of the spring term. Or maybe you reach out to your advisor if you're not able to take courses in the spring, so we can talk to you about potential different options. And then if you are an international student and you want to take spring courses, just make sure you're connecting with the SSO immigration consultants, just to verify that it's okay that you actually take courses in your scheduled off term.
Next question is, can I declare two majors? And the answer is yes. But if you are doing a double major, both have to be at the honors level with a 70% average minimum in each subject. If you're in co-op, you will follow the sequence for whichever major you have declared first. There are a very small few majors that have a different co-op sequence than the rest. You would just be following the co-op sequence that's attached to that major that you have listed first. If you are in arts and business, you can still do a double major. It will require some extra planning. And in many cases, you will be taking additional courses beyond the minimum 40 that you need to complete for a Bachelor of Arts. So for example, in arts and business, this is I guess, the most courses you'll have to take if you're in the arts and business program and you're doing a double major. So there's 40 courses minimum to complete your Bachelor of Arts. There's a 14 course minimum for arts and business. There are 16 courses required for each major as well. You have your 2 courses for your Arts First communication requirement. So that would be your Arts 130, Arts 140 courses that you have been taking and are taking. And then you'll have about 5 required courses for your Arts Breadth requirements. Usually this is more like 10 courses, but in the arts and business program, a lot of those courses are just taken care of in the arts and business curriculum. So if you do the math, that's a total of 53 courses. This can vary quite a bit depending on your plan combination. And if you have any courses that you can like double count, or any courses that you are taking towards your majors could count towards an arts breadth requirement. So it could be less than 53. It could also be more than 53 depending on your plan combo. So all of this to say, it's just if you're going to double major, ensure that you're planning your courses very carefully and keep in good touch with your academic advisors also.
Do you need to declare a major? Typically, yes. So if you're unsure what major you want, the alternative is honors or general liberal studies. Liberal studies is an awesome major if you're unsure of how far down the road you want to go in one very specific major, like sociology or legal studies. It includes a lot of the arts courses or faculty of arts courses in that major. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, especially if you don't have a lot of room in your degree, if you're doing ARBIS or something like that. It's also a great idea in the interim if you're aiming towards a certain major but just can't declare it yet. So liberal studies is a great way to go. It is available with co-op and can be combined with ARBIS. Again, you need a 70 average for all faculty of arts courses to be in honors liberal studies major. And if you're in ARBIS, you must declare an honors major or be eligible for liberal studies at the end of your first year. So something important to note. So if you're worried that you can't declare anything and you're an ARBIS student, liberal studies is likely right for you. Yeah, you can course plan accordingly and talk to an advisor about how to move forward with course selection and stuff like that. But the best thing you can do is to declare a major in liberal studies for now, if nothing else is available to you. Can you declare a minor? Absolutely. There are tons and tons of cool minors, as was mentioned earlier. You might not even know all that are available to you. So yes, you can declare a minor on this form. If you haven't had any courses completed, you can also declare a minor later on in your degree. So there's no rush to do so. A minor in the Faculty of Arts is typically 8 courses. In other faculties, it differs. So speak with an advisor if you have questions. But again, you don't have to declare a minor right now. You are just welcome to if you are ready to do so. And then co-registering. So as mentioned earlier, I'm the SJ advisor here that typically works with first year students. And then we have an upper year advisor here as well. You may have had a class on SJ's campus this term or last. You may know a friend that does or lives in our residence. Co-registering with us means that you kind of are one of our students as your home base. So in terms of your advising supports, in terms of some other supports we have on this campus, you are a part of our community here. You're welcome to go to our events, etc. But you still get a UW degree. You can still major in anything within the Faculty of Arts. You do get some perks around smaller class sizes, some different rapport with instructors. We do have a smaller community here, so it typically lends to getting to know each other a little bit quicker, both on the faculty side and academic side, as well on the social side. So again, if you are interested in that, there is a QR code there that you can scan that takes you to my contact and my bookings link, as well as my email. But we always welcome more students to co-register. The more the merrier. And that's where we are. So again, a lot of you have probably been here because a lot of arts-based classes happen here, especially legal studies, social psychology, and so forth. And we are just across the creek, so not too far of a walk. You may have noticed that we have a really cool library here. Definitely check it out if you haven't, and an awesome cafe. You are welcome on our campus, even if you don't co-register.
Lovely. Thanks, Brett. So just briefly, I just wanted to very quickly cover two small things just to consider. So after you submit your form to declare your major, so once your major has been processed, you will be emailed just to confirm that you have been admitted into whatever you have asked for. If you, for whatever reason, don't meet the minimum criteria for that major, you will also be contacted. Just so that you know like what the outcome was of your declaration. You will also have a new advisor as of 2A. So Britt, Andrea, and I have been here for your first year. We're going to hand you off to very lovely people that will be with you from 2A until you graduate. So just as a heads up, but do keep in touch with us. We always do enjoy hearing back from you and about your journey and achievements and all of that. And we look forward to seeing you at Convocation as well. Course selection for fall is going to begin already on May 22nd, which is not long after the winter term is over. So definitely mark that down on your calendars so you can do your best to submit your courses for the winter ahead of time. On the screen here are two QR codes that can take you to the second year course recommendations. You absolutely do not have to go there right now. This is down the road, but you can scan them and have them for later. In addition, they're also linked on the Declare Your Major website, as you may have guessed already. And then finally, as you are looking ahead to the fall, we encourage you to start considering if you're going to spend a term on exchange. So if you're going to study in a different country. So Waterloo Exchange has agreements with over 100 universities worldwide, tons of choice. We have universities on every continent that we have a partnership with. You need to have a minimum 70% cumulative overall average, and you must be in satisfactory academic standing to be eligible to apply to go on exchange. We say this very early on because you should apply during the fall 2025 term if you want to study on exchange at any point in fall 2026, winter 27, or spring 27, which would be around your 3B-ish term. 3A, 3B-ish term. There's quite a process to go on exchange, which is why you need to start planning in 2A to ensure that you have time to do all the things that you need to do to plan and go on exchange. Applications for specific schools and programs open as of October 1st in a program called Passport, which is just a portal that kind of manages your exchange applications. If you have any questions about this at all, we do have an exchange advisor here in the Arts Undergraduate Office. Her name's Sarah Robertson, and she would be more than happy to talk with you about your exchange options if you are considering this in the future. There is an email there for her. The QR code, oh my gosh, takes you to the website for the Go Abroad office, study abroad office. Oh my goodness, my words are not coming. So feel free to scan that also as you plan ahead to the fall term as well. Okay, so thank you so much for your attention during the session. Now is the time we're going to open it up for Q&A. If you could please go ahead and type them in the chat there on the side. We do have a team of a few people in the background. Thank you so much. That are going to be typing away, answering your questions. We are also going to be offering kind of a Q&A session out loud as well. So I'm going to be going through and I'll grab a couple of questions for Andrea and for Britt to answer here also. We're going to answer as many questions as we can. If not out loud, it'll be in the chat. And if you still have questions or if you have new questions now after this, please do stop by the speed advising session on Thursday here in the PASS building 2438. We'd love to see you. Okay. So I see there are a few questions. Okay. So I'm just going to dig in and I'm just going to pass it on over to, I'm going to start with Andrea because she comes first in the alphabet. Hope that's okay. This one's from Nandana. She says, I'm planning on majoring in legal studies and doing a minor in psychology. However, I'm taking LS 101, Soc 101, and LS 271 all this term. Is that okay? You're muted, Andrea.
Sorry, I'm just taking
That's
a
okay.
look here. Yeah, and I see that Kelly answered the question as well. So for the legal studies major, everything that's fine. Those courses are great. You want to make sure you have an average from those courses of 70%. In regards to the minor, though, the psych minor, you do have to at least complete Psych 101 and have a final grade of at least 65% to add a minor. So that's okay if you don't have it right now for the declare your major form. What you can do is just take Psych 101 in the fall term. At the end of the fall term, if you feel like you're going to have that 65 final grade, submit a plan modification form so that you can add the minor at that point. And that goes for, anyone that wants to add a minor, even on the declare your major form right now. Typically, you have to have at least one, sometimes 1 to 2 courses for the minor completed and the minor average requirement of 65%. The only minor that in the Faculty of Arts that does not have the 65 average requirement is actually the Human Resource Management minor. That's a 70%, and that one you actually can't start to take until your second year. You need to start in 2A by taking the HRM 200 course. So just to throw that out there.
Okay. Thank you, Andrea. I'm going to continue asking questions. I think there are people furiously typing in the background, but some of these questions I think some other people could also benefit from too. For example, actually, Darian asks, this is a question for you, Britt. If it's possible to declare a major in a program that requires 2 classes to be completed when you've only completed one of them at the moment. So this would be like if you're planning to major in like fine arts, music, economics, whatever. Darian's planning to go into fine art studio practice, but he's only done Fine 100 so far. What advice do you have?
Yeah, this is when liberal studies or another major that you've already completed the courses in would be a great option for now. And then you would just take that Fine 101 course or whatever other course you're missing. I believe it's Fine 101 in this case. In your fall term, so in your 2A term, and then declare after or change your major on your plan modification form after that. So liberal studies is great for now. Again, it includes everything in the Faculty of Arts as a part of that major. So you still have the flexibility there. You can still take fine arts courses in the meantime, and just ensure that you're in the proper fine arts courses in the fall term to be able to declare and change your major to fine arts at that point in time.
Perfect, thank you. With that in mind too, just kind of adding on, you may want to talk with the Fine Arts Academic Advisor just for advice on how you should tackle that, if there's anything you can do over the spring, or if you are kind of stuck in the fall where you have to take a certain set of courses. So Piper asks, Andrea, if I decide to just declare a major this term, but then decide that I want to declare a minor next year after having experienced more courses, can I still do that?
Yes, most definitely. So what you can do, Piper, is just take courses towards the different minors that you may be interested in, and once you've decided, you can submit the plan modification form just to add the minor on. Again, keeping in mind that you're meeting the average requirement to add a minor. Typically, even if you add a minor and down the road you decide, "Oh, I actually don't like it," you're not stuck keeping those plans. You can remove minors, you can change majors, you can change minors. Just keeping in mind the later that you add something, it could extend your studies just because you still have to complete all the requirements for them. So, short answer is yes, you can add a minor next year.
Thank you. Britt, Faith asks, I've taken 2 psych courses as it's what I'm majoring in, one last semester and one this semester. When declaring my major, do I need to have a minimum of 70% in both my psych classes, or only one is acceptable enough to declare my major?
Great question. And I know this is common for students to not know the right answer about. It's a combined average of 70% to declare your major in an honors major. So for psychology, it would be Psych 101 plus whatever you're in this term. I know some students maybe didn't get the grade they wanted in Psych 101, so perhaps someone got a 65 in Psych 101. If you got a 75 in whatever psych course you're in this term, that would average out to that 70 you need to declare psych. The same reigns true for any other major. It's an average between all of the courses that count within that major, and that needs to be at a 70. So it's okay if some courses are above that and some are below that, as long as the combined is at that 70.
Perfect. Thanks, Britt. Okay. Esra asks, Andrea, when I applied to my program, co-op was full, so I didn't have co-op right now. But if I chose the co-op option instead of regular while filling out the declare your major form, does that automatically put me in co-op, or do I have to do anything else to apply to co-op?
So, Ezra, if you select co-op on the Declare Your Major form and you are admissible to the honors major of whatever it is that you're wanting to major in, you will be admitted to your major with co-op for the fall term. There's nothing else you would need to do at that point. You would move into your major with co-op for the fall term and keep progressing along at that point.
Perfect. Britt, when declaring a minor, is the requirement for the average also 70% if you're in a co-op program?
So minor averages in the Faculty of Arts are typically a 65%. The exception to that was mentioned earlier is the Human Resources minor, which is at a 70%. So it's sometimes dependent on the minor. If you're doing a minor outside the Faculty of Arts, the average also might differ. So as long as you're keeping up with the averages listed on the undergraduate calendar and you're talking to your advisor, you should be all set. What you're aiming for overall is to meet those averages required for your major and your minor and ARBIS if you're in that, and that cumulative average of 60.
Awesome. Andrea, this question pertains to history from Parker, but also I think it's applicable to any major that offers a specialization. So the question is, I'm in honors arts and I want to declare history. How do I go about majoring in one of these 3 specializations that history offers?
So, what I would suggest for any student that wants to pursue a specialization within the major is just declare your major on the Declare Your Major form, and then make sure you connect with the major advisor once you've been admitted to your major to start working on some of that course planning, outlining how you want to, what courses you should take in which terms, and let them know that you want to pursue whatever specialization that it is, because they can then help you make sure that you're taking the appropriate courses at the appropriate time.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrea. Britt, what if I don't like co-op after my first co-op year? Can I change to a normal major?
Yeah, so students always have the option to remove themselves from co-op and pursue a regular stream. It's harder to add co-op at any point later on. So if you're unsure about co-op, now is a great time to add it to your declare your major form or keep it on there if you were already admitted to a co-op program. If you pursue your first work term and it just wasn't a good fit for you, or there were some things in the way, or you want to complete your degree at a faster point in time and you don't want to pursue co-op anymore, no worries. You can work with your advisor and have that removed from your program and just have steady terms for the rest of your degree and likely graduate a little bit earlier.
Okay, thank you. Andrea, Kanak asks, they want to major in psychology and possibly minor in cognitive science. I took Psych 101 last term and I'm currently taking Psych 207 this term. Would it be possible for me to declare a cognitive science minor on the declare your major form as well?
So the option to request the cognitive science minor is available on the declare your major form. So again, if you're interested in that minor, I would suggest just selecting it on the form along with your major. And then at the end of the term, once grades are in, we'll be going through and assessing and admitting students according to the requirements.
Perfect, thank you. Britt, Grace asks, would it be possible to pursue a double major in sociology and legal studies? And if so, what would it look like? And I'm asking if you could also elaborate a little bit on the double counting and on checking the undergrad calendar for rules.
Yeah, absolutely. So sociology and legal studies is a great kind of double major to pursue. A lot of students do choose that route because, as you probably already noticed, there are some courses that overlap or are cross-listed. For example, like LS 227, I believe is one of them, or SOC 101 you need for legal studies, but that also would count for sociology. So yes, absolutely, you can pursue a double major in both of those subjects. The only thing to consider is there is a rule within the academic calendar that says you can't triple count a course, but you can double count a course. So if you were pursuing two majors and then one or two minors, but you have a course that technically could count towards three or more of those things, it can't do so. It's only going to count towards two. So that's when you just work, maybe make your own spreadsheet, keep track of your courses and how they count, and make sure you're corresponding with your advisor to stay on track and make sure your requirements are counting where you want them to ensure that that works out in your favor.
Wonderful. Thanks, Britt. I also know in the calendar that particular combination is a popular one because there's a lot of course overlaps. There's a lot of cross-listed courses between legal studies and sociology. But in the undergraduate calendar, under the major requirements for both the legal studies and the sociology major, there's a special rule in there that says there's a certain number of courses you have to take that are only for the major, that you're not double counting. So if you are going to do that combination, just be sure that you're in touch with the academic advisor in the sociology and legal studies department just to make sure you're not double counting where you shouldn't, and that you're definitely not triple counting as well. Okay, Andrea. Vishnu asks, if a major is declared, but the average minimum isn't reached by the end of the winter term, what happens?
Yeah, so if you don't meet the average for the major that you're requesting, as Julie noted, we will look for alternate avenues or alternate plans that we can put you in. So if a student is requesting, say, honors history with co-op, but they don't have that 70% history average, then we would look to see if you have a cumulative faculty of arts average of 70% and put you into honors liberal studies with co-op, because you have, in order to be in the co-op program, you have to have an honors major. So that would be the first route. If you don't have the faculty of arts average of 70% and you don't have the 70% history, then what we would do is we would look to see if you at least meet the 4-year general history average, which would be the 65. And if that was the case, we would admit you to that. You will be notified if of whatever plan we're admitting you to, and given guidance at that point. If your average is low, so again, say we're wanting that honors history, and your average was slightly low, we typically are reviewing the admit to majors in early May And so we do our best to get them done and reach out to students before the ad period ends for the spring term. Because if you need to try and take a course in the spring, then we can reach out and say, hey, your average is low. You may want to look at trying to take a course to boost it this term. Again, that's really only an issue if you want co-op. So, you know, if co-op's not on your request or on your declare your major plan request, then that's not such a big issue.
Perfect. I think that actually also answers another question for Irina, who asks, when you receive an email stating whether or not you're eligible for the major you've chosen, what are the next steps in the email that is telling you this? Typically, it would be a conversation, essentially, is what Andrea said. So we would tell you that you're not eligible for history or for whatever else, but these are your options that we can see. But we would invite you to come talk with us too to try to figure out a plan to get you where you want to be. Okay. So be sure that you do check your email and that you keep in touch with us. Brett, Mathusha's asking, can we declare our major in spring 2025 instead of now? Or do we have to wait until next year to declare a major again?
You can declare a major whenever you have those criteria met. So 8 courses completed minimum and those averages. So yeah, if you are taking some courses this spring term, again, make sure it is not, if you are taking courses because you already completed 8 in your first year, or 10, but want to take some in the spring term to get ahead, just make sure if you are in co-op, it's not over 13 total before the fall term. Other than that, taking spring term courses is a great way to either change your major or be eligible for a major if you weren't already. And you'll work with your advisor to submit a plan modification form at the end of the spring term in order to admit you into that major by the fall term. And so there's just some work around there because you might not get into the courses for that major because you haven't declared it until the beginning of the fall term. So just work with your advisor, reach out and make sure you're in the right courses to keep you on track to do so. You do not need to wait another year to declare your major, no.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I think we covered this already. Priyanshi is just asking, I'm currently in the regular stream. Am I able to switch to the co-op stream and can I declare it on the form? I'm just going to quickly answer yes, just in case anybody else had that question as well. There's 2 very simple buttons you can choose if you want to be considered for co-op or if you want to drop co-op and move ahead in the regular stream. Okay. Okay, Andrea. Bridget has a question about cross-listing. Can cross-listed courses count towards a major and a minor and or 2 minors? So can a cross-listed course count towards 2 plans?
So, well, and Lynn has mentioned this in the chat. It depends on the courses, whether a course will double count. Make sure to check with your advisor. But typically, if you are taking, say, a Soc major and an LS minor, and you're taking a cross-listed course, yes, typically the courses will count for both plans. But that is also up to a certain point. So this goes back to the whole double counting that Britt had mentioned previously. So typically you can double count up to 50% of an academic plan. So in the instance of a legal studies major and a Soc minor, minors are 8 courses. So you can double count or use cross-listed courses for 4 of the courses in that minor. That would also count towards your major. So just keeping that part in mind.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so there was another question about, it was kind of more co-op related. Britt, on the arts degree requirements website that lists the breadth requirements, Priyanshi's also asking if we need a minimum of 4 co-op terms completed or 5. If you could just clarify.
So yeah, if you are a co-op if you're enrolled in a co-op program, you'll be scheduled for 5 work terms, and you need to complete at least 4 of them to get the co-op designation when you graduate. You can discuss that with an advisor later, since your co-op doesn't start until your 2nd year. But if something happens during one of those work terms, or you're unable to complete it or whatnot, technically you have a little bit of flexibility, only having to complete 4 of the 5.
Perfect, thank you. And another question from Priyanshi, just on the same note, Andrea, can a major be switched to a minor and vice versa?
So yes, as long as you have the appropriate average requirement, you can submit a plan modification form to move the major to a minor and that minor up to a major. So again, you would have the minor that you want to move to a major, you would have to have at least a 70 average in, and the major to a minor, you should be fine because typically minors are 65 averages.
Perfect.
Andrea, it's Julie. I just answered that call. Oh, people are not going to see me very well. I just answered that question. Keep in mind that some of our minors are not available as majors. So I gave the example of cultural identities and Indigenous studies. But every major is also available as a minor.
Thank you, Julie. Julie is our oracle in the Arts Undergraduate Office, who knows everything and everything about the undergraduate calendar. Not sure what we do without her. Britt, I have a question for you from Shreya, who's asking about a double major with SMF. So since that's over at SJ, just wondering, can they do a double major with psychology and SMF with co-op?
Yeah, you absolutely can. A lot of students love the overlap between the psychology and SMF majors, and by the courses you've listed, it sounds like you are good to go in declaring both of those. So I would definitely do so on the form. And then you'll just work with those advisors to ensure that you have the courses required for each term. Sometimes there's a rule when you do double major that you take a research methods or a stats course. And typically that comes up in both majors sometimes, but you might only need to take it in one major. That's a great question for your advisor as your course planning for your 2nd year and beyond, to just check in about your courses whenever you're double majoring, but you'll have a lot of fun with those majors.
Perfect. Thanks, Brett. Andrea, this is a good question about elective space. Jasmine asks, how many extra elective courses would be available to someone taking a major and a minor? Is there room to focus on a 3rd interest that you didn't declare as a major or as a minor?
Yeah,
through
so
electives?
Lynn has typed a response, and so as she noted, if you're in arts and business and you're in wanting a major, adding a minor typically will take you a little bit more time and money to complete, because you only really have 3-4 electives tops without a minor in arts and business. Because you have your arts breadth requirements, you have your major plan and all in your ARVIS courses. There's no reason you can't do it. We just like to make sure that it could take a little bit more time and money. If you're in honors arts and you want to have a major and a minor and possibly a 2nd minor, a little more feasible that way, because each minor is 8 courses. As Lynn noted, there could be some double counting or cross-listed courses, things like that can reduce the number of extra courses you may have to take, which would then affect if you have extra electives, things like that. So always make sure you're reaching out to your academic advisor. I've seen lots of students do an honors major and 2 minors. It is possible to do. Just take some planning. And so work with your advisor, work with the minor advisors, and make sure that you just plan them all out.
Awesome. Good advice. Thank you. Okay. I think we have time for a couple more questions here. Okay, Britt, this is a co-op related question from Anisha. Can you complete the first work term this coming summer and take another work term off later on?
Good question. So students start co-op officially in their second year of studies. So that means that you aren't officially like admitted to the co-op program and have co-op resources until you're a 2A student or higher. So students that are in ARBIS or non-ARBIS and honors arts will start co-op either with their first work term being in winter 2026, which is wild to say, 2026, or spring of 2026. You will get a lot more co-op resources, information, access to a co-op advisor, and so forth in the term before your first work term. So this is actually your only term off if you're a co-op student this spring. So take advantage of it. When have you ever had 4 months off to volunteer, to study, to travel, to work, to do whatever? Great time to take an online course if you want to get ahead or work towards a different major or minor. Also a great time to just enjoy having 4 months off, because if you're in co-op, the rest of your degree will be either a work term or a study term until you graduate.
That's a good answer. Very true. Okay, just quickly, I've seen a few questions come through where people are asking for a link to major requirements. So there is a thing called an undergraduate calendar. And if you just go to Google and you type in University of Waterloo undergraduate academic calendar, it will bring you to the calendar. And in there, you can look up all requirements for your degree overall, for your major, minor, any specializations, any of that stuff. If you don't have that bookmarked, I highly recommend you do that now, because that is that's what's dictating what you have to complete for your degree. Okay. And I do believe somebody, for these people that are asking, is responding with a link as well. Okay, so I think we have time for, oh, thank you, Andrea. In the chat, there is a link directly to the undergrad calendar. What a boss. Thanks so much. Okay, we have time for one more question. And I'm going to throw it your way, Andrea. Okay, so Kanek asks, is it possible to declare a double major later on if I decide on only one major now, but maybe I find another in the spring?
So yes, you can add a second major later on. I would encourage you to try and add it in your second year if possible, just so that you're not, extending your studies because you need to make sure you have time to finish all the courses. As Julie noted online in her response to you, you would just need to submit the plan modification form to add that second major. And so as soon as you have the 1 to 2 courses completed and that 70% major average, so it needs to be an honors major, just submit the plan mod form to get that second major added.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Andrea. Okay, I don't see any other questions in the hopper at this time. So I think now is a time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for spending a little time with us this afternoon and for learning a little bit more about what to expect with declaring your major. We're here for you. If you have any questions along the way, please contact us. On the screen, you should see the general email that will go to our front desk, but we'll find one of us, whoever you're supposed to connect with. If you do have questions, again, on Thursday, we have our drop-in speed advising sessions offered throughout the day here in the PASS building. And the co-op session also is happening tomorrow, the virtual one. So be sure that you do your research, you feel good about your choices, and all the best the rest of this term. We'll see you later. Take care, guys.